ass. Psychos and sickos unite for another edition of the PHNX Suns postgame show. Of course, brought to you by our friends over at Bet365. Download the Bet365 app. Use code PHNX365 when you sign up and find out why, whatever the moment, it's never ordinary over at Bet365. Gosh, it's like this music is the soundtrack to my life at this point. I'm Eric. That's Gerald. That's Noah. And Spencer Dinwiddie, I hate to say it, was right as the Phoenix Suns lose 123-103 to the Boston Celtics. Gerald, it feels like there is only one place to start with this loss.
Yeah, and it's Bradley Beal. We can't beat around the bush. Like, in his first game back, to be as bad as he was, 1 point, 0 of 7 shooting, and a team worst -23 in his 30 minutes. I knew that he would be rusty. I knew that the Suns weren't going to win this game. I did not know it was going to look that ugly. And at no point during this game, even when it was down to like 13 or 12 or 10 or whatever it was, at no point did it ever feel like the Suns were going to make a run, had any chance of being a threat to win this game. It's just demoralizing all around where we are at this point in the season. Like, you knew with Kevin Durant out that Devin Booker would have to have a good game. You got a good game out of Devin Booker. You knew that you would have to potentially change the starting lineup to be more switchable. You did that as well. And Bradley Beal, who is making $50 million a year, scored 1 point in 30 minutes. It's just not good enough. And you're at the point in the season where every game matters if you're trying to make that play in. So I'm kind of at the point where you need to dial back his minutes by a lot, and they might have been better off not bringing him back at this point.
Ding, 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 ding. I'm over it. I've said this a billion times. You're not even helping his trade value at this point by playing him. You're actually somehow making the little trade value he might have had left. Like, if the Chicago Bulls would have talked themselves into doing something else stupid, you're taking that and making it that much smaller, when the number one thing that you need to do this summer is to find a way to get this dude out of this team. That's it. That is your number one priority. No trading Kevin Durant is the number one priority, or Grayson Allen, or Royce O'Neal, or the draft. And these are all steps the Suns could take to rebuild their team. But I mean, $50 million for not a single made field goal. And it's not rust. We've seen players come back from injury and be rusty, but to me, it just felt like he is just out there. He is just a player who was on the court, not caring or putting any effort into anything. 0 points in 30 minutes. In 30 minutes tonight, Gerald. I don't want to see this man dribble a basketball in another Phoenix Suns uniform for the rest of this season and for the rest of his career. And that is coming from somebody who has stood on business and defended him throughout the season and last season and when they traded for him, and it is indefensible at this point. There is no beating around the bush, like you said, just beating down our spirits every time Bradley Beal plays basketball, and at this point, it's downright pathetic. Shut him down and get him off this damn team.
Yeah, that's the number one priority in the offseason. We've been saying it on this program for a while now. It's tough, and I don't want to come at him as a human being, but as a basketball player, making that much money for him to be on the court and that be the production in his first game back, like injury or not, there's just no excuse for it. And again, this is the point in the season where you cannot afford missteps. You cannot afford a ramp-up period for Bradley Beal to shake the rust off or to go out there and produce better or whatever you want to call it. Like, this is just demoralizing. And I don't think if you would have held Bradley Beal out in this game, the Suns still aren't winning this game. Like, Bradley Beal didn't single-handedly tank the game. There were lots of reasons that this game got out of hand, but you were at a point where your best shot at winning games was without Bradley Beal. We saw it during the 4-game win streak. We saw it for, fits and spasms over the last couple of weeks, and now you bring him back into the fold, and you just don't stand a chance against a team like Boston. So we've reached a point where the relationship between Beal and this fan base and vice versa has become toxic. And I'm not saying that that's the reason why he went out there and played like crap. As we've mentioned, worst net rating on the team all season. This has been a long-running trend all year long. But there's no room for missteps at this point. And playing him 30 minutes in his first game back when he's 0 of 7 and the worst plus-minus on the team just doesn't make sense to me.
No, and to be honest with you, this is not the same Bradley Beal that we saw at other points this season or even last season.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, Bradley Beal and JJ Redick, when they played the Lakers a couple weeks ago before Beal got injured at the half and left, was saying, what else do you want out of a third option as far as scoring 17 points per game?
Mm-hmm.
What we've seen from Bradley Beal post-trade deadline has been very different than what we saw pre. And was the fit ever good? No. And the overall numbers will lay that out as far as overall plus minus, which we'll get to a super chat here in a second. And at that point, it was okay. I think Bradley Beal is a good player in a vacuum in a bad situation, and the Suns need him to hit a certain level.
Mm-hmm.
And as the season has gone on, his play has gone like this. And it's not due to injuries. And you know what? It might be because of the fan stuff. And I, as a human being, understand that it is really hard to go out there and to do your job at the best of your abilities when you know or feel like 99% of the people who are supposed to be cheering for you are actively rooting against you or actively hating on you because you are not living up to whatever contract another team signed and then decided to trade, or a no trade clause that another team offered you for your services, right? Something that, technically speaking, Bradley Beal earned, that $50 million contract and that no trade clause, even if right now it doesn't look like he did. He did technically earn that by his play before. And to go out there and to play an incredibly difficult sport that just the smallest margin of a difference of athleticism is the difference between a player being on a roster and out of the league for their career. And if you lose 5% effort that you were giving before, you can be a completely different player. If you lose that mental edge or that willpower, that desire to compete, you can be a completely different player. And I think the beginning of the end was that article on ESPN, the I'm smiling through it all because I have the best job in the world. You cannot claim to be a active competitor, someone with this fire in their soul to compete at the highest level and not be pants on fire mad about what's been going on this season, especially when you were at the core of it. And he told Dwayne Rankin, it's really tough. You know, I preach availability and I'm not available, but I can't do anything else about it. And on that level, I feel for you, man. But when you are on the court, it's done. You're not even giving us the full Bradley Beal, which wasn't a fit in the first place. Obviously, this has me riled up. Obviously, this has the chat riled up. Before we get too far in it, let's do 125 likes for the like goal. I get it. This game sucks. This team sucks. So morale's not high, but 125 likes for the like goal. Was there something about Bradley Beal tonight, Gerald, that you saw that felt like, oh, maybe he is not 100%?
Not really. It looked like he had the decent same amount of burst that he always has. I don't understand playing 30 minutes and only taking 7 shots. And I understand because he missed all of them. That probably factors into it. But this is a game where Booker is having to do everything, where Kevin Durant is out, and you need this other guy who's getting paid this amount of money to step up and carry some of that scoring load. And he just couldn't, whether it's due to lack of shots or whether it's due to the fact that the shots that he got, he missed every single one of them. Like it's frustrating to watch because we saw Bradley Beal in Washington, and no, those weren't winning teams. No, he's never been on a team that was like a true contender. He was on a couple of playoff teams in Washington, but that's what's frustrating is to your point. He earned the contract that he got with Washington because Washington was a bad team And the only thing that they could do if they wanted to keep him and keep talent was pay him that inordinate amount of money. But like for him to come here on that contract and give this level of production and play in this many number of games is really disappointing. And he's even admitted, like, I get it. I understand why fans are frustrated, but that doesn't absolve him from actually going out there when he is healthy and playing better. I know it's his first game back, but if you're going to play at this juncture in the season when every game is a must win, again, the Suns don't have time to mess around and see like, okay, well, how's Bradley Beal going to play? Is he going to be 100%? Is he going to be good? Is he still injured? Like, there's no room for error there. There's no room for margin. And when he's been the worst player on the court by net rating all season long, like we knew that shutting him down was a move that would probably make the Suns better, even if it wasn't realistic.
Mm-hmm.
And now we're this is the first game, but we're already seeing it in action.
Sandman says Brad was paid $600,000 for this game.
Yeah.
1 point per $600,000. I really wish, honestly, and I know availability hasn't been great with Brad. I really do wish, and this is going to sound so sadistic of me, like that the main problem was he was injured.
Mm-hmm.
Because to me, that's not the main problem. That's a problem.
Yeah.
A part of it. The main problem is that when he is on the court, it just doesn't work.
Yeah.
So when you are available, it doesn't matter. Like you're available against the Celtics. When everybody but Devin Booker cannot score, you are supposed to be the guy. You are supposed to step up and help this team elevate when there is no Kevin Durant or when there is no Devin Booker or when one of those guys is on the bench. And you couldn't even do that. Any final words about Beal before we talk about maybe the one good thing that happened tonight?
Again, Beal is not the only reason that the Suns lost, but you look at minus 23 in his 30 minutes, and in the 18 minutes that he sat, Suns were a +3, 1 point, 5 assists, 3 steals, 0 of 7 field goals. And I think, to be honest with you, we have one image that sums up Bradley Beal's night pretty perfectly here. Brad, he returned game. Woof.
Woof. Indeed. Okay. We get that out of our system?
Yeah, I think so.
Then it is time for the only good part about this game, of course, to name our big, bright, shining star presented by Gila River Resorts and Casinos. You do you at Gila River Resorts and Casinos. Visit playatgila.com for more details.
I am a big, bright, shining star.
That would be Devin Booker yet again. With KD out, Book has stepped up over these last couple of games as a scorer, as a playmaker. He scored 37 tonight, 6 assists, 5 rebounds, shot 15 of 29, 2 for 6 from 3, and 5 of 5 from the free throw line. Suns were a -8 in the minutes that he was on the court, but they were a -12 in the 10 minutes that he sat. So things got significantly worse when Booker was out. That's tough, man, because Book has been playing well. He's been doing what we've said the Suns need out of him against quality defenses on top of that. For me, that's kind of the only reassuring thing that I've had over these last couple of games is that, okay, with or without Kevin Durant, Devin Booker still has that gear that he can hit. I know it's only a couple of games. He hasn't had the season that everyone envisioned for him. I totally get it. But if you're looking ahead to a future where Kevin Durant stays or a future where they trade Kevin Durant and they're building around Book solely, it's at least good to see that he can go out there and continue to do Devin Booker things. Mm-hmm. Now it's a matter of, okay, how are you going to build around him?
That's one of the only main takeaways that you can have from these losses is that it's good to see Devin Booker get in that groove and heading into a summer that's a lot earlier than they expected and no Olympic play. Maybe he could just take that mindset and run with it this whole summer. And that is what this team needs, whether Beal is here, whether KD is here, whether they're both here or none of them are here next season. We know one thing for sure, Gerald, and that's that Devin Booker will be here. And whoever's on this roster next year, Book needs to be more in his bag like he has been against the Rockets, like he has been against the Celtics, than in the playmaking bag that, yes, you wrote about, and that it's great that he's talented enough to dip in that, but that needs to be a secondary thing, not his main priority. But of course, you guys in the chat are our main priority. Let's rip a couple of these super chats before we hit our first break. First one from Psycho Blue says, Basketball Cthulhu misses when a certain someone was just a hater and not a prophet. plus 107 with Beal on the court last season, minus 236 and counting this season.
Yeah, like we've been saying, the numbers when those 3 stars were on the court last year are night and day compared to what they are this season. Like it's kind of similar to what we talked about earlier in the year with Yusuf Nurkic. The concerns were there, but the cracks just completely gave way and the floor fell out from beneath him. Nurk was unplayable early in the year. He got benched for it. Bradley Beal has been unplayable recently, and especially this season. Last year, he was a positive when he was on the court. This year, a complete negative. So it's brutal that way. Another one from Maria. Thank you, Maria. $5 super chat. Hey, missed tonight's game, but couldn't miss another PHNX show. Sad I didn't get to witness aggressive book, but I could live without witnessing a loss. You didn't watch the game, but you're pretty much right there with us, Maria. So.
Yeah, we appreciate. I know so many of you don't watch the games anymore, and to be honest with you, I don't blame you.
Yeah.
But tuning in here, commiserating, keeping up with this godforsaken dumpster fire, we appreciate greatly. Speaking of dumpster fire, Noah.
Be calm, see clearly. $2 super chat. Oof, Beal. At least Booker was caked up, daddy. Heart, heart, heart.
Glad that Becomsey clearly just stays on brand no matter what. There have been a couple
not
times.
Always, not
there have
always.
been a couple times where it's been so depressing that even Becomsey clearly couldn't give the normal super chat. Another one from Maria. Thank you, Maria. Heard Dunn was timid tonight. Is that true? If so, any idea why? Looking forward to hearing assessment of how everyone played tonight. Beal must go this offseason. We can definitely talk about Dunn in the next segment, but to answer your question in shorthand, yes, he was a little timid.
Yeah, and he's been a little bit timid. So let's talk about him. Let's look at some numbers. And we've got a lot more than just Celtics Suns talk tonight. We're going to show you some clips from Espo's conversation with Marc Stein that's up in full on our YouTube channel. And we're going to play a little Suns Celtics game, not about this game, in our final segment. So stay tuned for all of that psychos and sickos and stick with us right after this break. Bradley Beal has a lot of money to manage, and if he wants to manage it better, he should check out Monarch Money. But it's not just for somebody who's getting paid $600,000 per game. No, it's for everyday people. In fact, it's a finance app that people will actually use. You can keep all of your finances to build the life that you want in one place. We're talking credit cards, investments, accounts. You'll always know where your money stands without the hassle. And with recent events, it's always important to know where your money stands, especially in your investments. Monarch Money is a finance tool that people love, named Wall Street Journal's best budgeting app of 2025. It's the top recommended personal finance app by users and experts with over 30,000 5-star reviews. They're not just telling you that it works. You can see for yourself that it works. Get control over your finances with Monarch Money. Use code PHNX at monarchmoney.com in your browser for half off your first year. How about that for saving some money? 50% off your first year at monarchmoney.com with code PHNX. It's maybe the last couple of days of good weather outside here in Arizona. That's why I'm rocking the long sleeve hoodie. It's still a little toasty, but I got to get it in while I can before it's 120. And when it is 120, if you own a home around here, you should definitely call our friends at All Pro Shade Concepts, because again, they are pro at shading your back patio. An automatic or motorized patio shade that can come in many different styles and colors to match your HOA and keep your patio up to 20 degrees cooler during the summer. And as Noah and Steven, our new Arizona residents, will learn, Gerald, 120 and 100 are quite different. Yes, and you'll know that as well. Plus, during the winter, it keeps warm air in and cool air out, so always extend your outdoor living space with a licensed, bonded, and insured All-Pro Shade Concepts. Call 623-204-1476 or visit allproshadeconcepts.com right now to schedule your free estimate. Thanks to everybody hanging out in the chat. We love all of you psychos and sickos. Hit that like button. Like goal is 125. Make sure you keep on tuning in. We will be off tomorrow, but Espo and I recorded a little mini pod that will be in your audio feed and on YouTube tomorrow, talking about what really ruined the Suns season. But before we get into what went wrong in this game, let's set the scene as why this game mattered and take a look at Push for the Playoffs presented by, again, our friends over at All Pro Shade Concepts. Now, not a ton of movement, obviously, because not a ton happened tonight. But Gerald, the big thing to look at is the Phoenix Suns lost And yes, the Sacramento Kings pulled off a win against the Charlotte Hornets. So the Suns are now a full 2 games back from the Sacramento Kings and the 10th seed, and they are 3 games back from the Dallas Mavericks. Is it over?
No, it's not. This was kind of what we expected heading into the night. We knew the Kings were playing the Hornets and that they were probably going to beat them as bad as they've been recently. We knew that the Suns were probably not going to beat the Celtics with Kevin Durant out. So this is kind of where I expected them to be. But looking at the Kings' remaining schedule, they have some tough ones. And they could conceivably go, I think, 0-4 over their next games before their finale against the Suns. The Suns, if they win 1 game against the Spurs, even if they lose to the Knicks, to the Warriors, to the Thunder on the second night of a back-to-back, if they get that Spurs game and the Kings go 0-4 until that Suns game, then they've made up this 1 game that they lost tonight, and then it all comes down to the regular season finale. So it's not over.
But it feels over.
But any missteps from here on out, or if the Kings beat one of these teams that they probably aren't expected to beat, then it's kind of over.
Yeah, your margin for error is that big.
Yep.
It is tiny. So let's talk about why tonight's loss stung, Gerald. Obviously, we did not expect the Suns to win, but it actually felt like a winnable game. The Celtics didn't play out of their minds. The Suns were never down by 30, 35 points. And in the modern NBA, those types of games, well, they matter. What's the number one thing that stood out to you beyond Beal, beyond Booker from tonight?
It felt like they were overmatched and that the Celtics, like you said, the Celtics didn't play out of their minds. They didn't even take 43s tonight. They only took 39 on the evening. So the Suns kept pace with them in the 3-point battle, but the defense was just constantly on its heels. You were watching a Celtics team that knew how to pace themselves, that knew what they wanted to get to offensively, that knew how to make the runs. Like we saw 2 8-0 runs in the first quarter alone. That's an experienced championship caliber team that knows its style of play, that knows its chemistry, that knows all of that, the flow of the game. And they just played confidently when they had to. And then you've got the Suns, who it felt like every run that they went on wasn't really threatening. It's just kind of that demoralizing aspect that I spoke to off the top of the show, where it never felt like this game was ever in doubt from the first quarter on.
Yeah. By the way, this is loss number 5 in a row after 4 straight wins. You play the Knicks next, but as far as tonight goes, really curious as to why Colin Gillespie only got 13 minutes tonight after starting for the last week and a half, ever since Bradley Beal went down. Ryan Dunn did take 8 shots, 5 threes, but only hit 1 of those threes for 5 points. Immediately fouling right at the start of the game, only ended with 2, but he has not been able to find his offensive groove. Oso Ighodaro started tonight, 6 of 8. First 2 shots were misses. After that, he didn't miss. So I liked what I saw from him, but 12-7 is not going to get it done against the Celtics. I look at the rest of his roster. I just start feeling bad for people, man.
Yeah. I mean, it's like Book dropped 37 and then the next highest scorer were 3 guys with 12. And again, not to harp on Beal again, but 1 point for Beal, the guy that you needed to be your next highest scorer tonight. So that's demoralizing. Colin Gillespie only getting 13 minutes, like you mentioned, and a couple of them were basically in garbage time.
And Tyus getting 20.
Yeah, like that. We talked about it in pregame. We were hoping that we would still see Gillespie. We saw him for the first stint off the bench over Tyus. And then from then on, it was pretty much just Tyus. So going away from Gillespie was kind of frustrating there. On top of that, I realized we never answered Maria's question in the super chat about Dunn in depth. He did get up 8 shots, only went 2 for 8. 5 of those were threes, and he was 1 for 5 from 3. I don't have a problem with him being willing to let it fly from 3. We knew that he's not going to be some efficient 3-point shooter in his first year, but I would like to see him mix in a little bit more aggression off the dribble, not hesitate on the shots that he gets, and get to kind of the in-between of his game where he's attacking the basket, where they're getting him as a screener and rolling and getting him downhill, where he's getting around the basket as a cutter. Easier looks for him to get him going a little bit, because 5 of his 8 attempts coming from threes where he's just kind of standing around. doesn't seem like it's going to help him with his offensive skill set.
Well, and one of the things that we were loving from Ryan Dunn's game before he unceremoniously got glued to the bench for no reason was his short roll finishing, his little floater, him attacking the rim, and you just don't see that as much recently. It is kind of live by the three, die by the three, and when he's hitting them, that's great, and when he's not, obviously, that sucks. Let's round up our conversation about this game, plus let's, just do what we have to do. Take a look inside the box, presented by Desert Financial Credit Union, Arizona's #1 credit union, named by Forbes.
What's in the box?
Yeah, that's pretty much it. It's a 123-103 loss to the Celtics. Another game where the Suns actually generated more field goal attempts than their opponent. We haven't seen it too many times this season. But it doesn't matter when your opponent shoots about 8% better than you. And then we've got the threes. Again, the Celtics only took 2 more threes than the Suns and made 2 more threes than the Suns. That's okay. You would just like to see the shooting a little bit better than 32% from 3, especially since the Suns heading into tonight were second in the NBA in 3-point percentage. Free throws is where it kind of hurt a little bit. The Celtics got there 22 times. The Suns only got there 11. We've been talking about how the Suns just don't have anyone who can apply rim pressure. You were hoping that Beal could help with that. Not so much tonight, and he did miss all of his shots, including some around the rim. Celtics won the rebounding battle 49-40, and they won the points in the paint battle 52-36. Again, the Suns have to find a way to generate more points in the paint, more shots at the rim, and it's just something that no one outside of Beal and a couple others can really do. And as we know, Beal has not been great this season anyway. So
Meatloaf in the chat says if Beal didn't play, we would have had 102. Let's be grateful, folks.
Could have been worse.
It could have been worse. I think points in the paint. I think Boston's dead last in points in the paint in the entire NBA. So not great, Bob.
No.
Not great, but you guys are great. Let's take a look at your super chats to round this segment out before we hear from Marc Stein and his conversation with Espo. That's up in its entirety right here on PHNX Sports. Next segment. Some guy named Justin with a $2 super chat says, Coach Booty with the tech. He lives.
We haven't seen him get fired up very often, and I honestly, the TV on our end,
we
couldn't
really even see
what he
that well.
did. So
I just saw him sitting there on the bench. I was like, okay, sure, whatever.
Again, even if he was getting text left and right and showing some quote unquote fire, I would like to see it in the team's play and performance.
And like
W's.
3 months ago,
right? At the end of the day, all that matters is W's. If he was sitting on the sidelines quietly and the Suns were beating people by 10 to 15 every night, we would not care.
Yeah.
But
I'll save you from reading this next super chat, Gerald.
Okay.
Teddy with a $4.99 super chat says, unless they get 5 firsts for KD, Beal not going anywhere. NBA Deshaun Watson. No.
Yeah. Very different
Listen,
reasons.
as far as went from a really good all-star level player to bum on the field or bum on the court, I'm with you. No. With everything else. There's no comparing those two.
I know that it's hard right now, but the off-court, off-field stuff matters.
Bradley Beal's a good person. You can be mad at him as a fan.
Yes.
Bradley Beal's a good person until we are informed otherwise.
Yeah.
Teddy with another $1.99 super chat says, on the dead homies, Beal is the worst player ever. And then somebody followed up and said, Teddy speaking facts. Maria has a question for you, Gerald.
Sure. Thank you for your super chat, Maria. Gerald, is there a viable way to get Beal off the team this offseason? What would you do to make this happen? I trust you, not the front office. I appreciate that. You guys in the chat probably should be glad I'm not in the front office.
No, I really wish that you were.
Well, that's nice. But
no, I don't want to work with you anymore.
Oh,
no, I'm kidding.
It's worse.
I'm kidding.
I mean,
maybe you could still write. I could read your writing if you're GM.
Forgot to tell you guys I actually accepted the job.
That's
you
why
got the
we
job.
suck.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's
Wow.
why we suck.
That's
Okay.
tough.
Gotcha.
Maria, I genuinely don't know. The no trade clause makes things difficult, but honestly, I think at this point, because I've spoken with Bradley Beal's agent, and this was in an article I wrote weeks ago, saying that like they don't deal in absolutes when it comes to that no trade clause. Like if the right situation opens up, they would be open to moving. Bradley Beal would probably be open to leaving the Suns at this point with as toxic as it's gotten with the way that this thing has crumbled. The problem is finding a team that he would be interested in going to and that would be able and willing to take on what's left of his contract. And in order to do that, you are probably going to have to incentivize that team in the form of at least 1 first-round pick and probably more. You're going to have to target a team that has no window for winning right now and is just doing it to shed some salary, to take back a bad contract, and to get a sweetener or two in return for it. We have to wait till the offseason to see what that looks like, to be honest with you, and see what happens in the playoffs, how teams tweak, fall apart, whatever. But as of right now, there are only a handful that would maybe make sense to me. And honestly, we've talked about the possibility of a buyout. That feels very unlikely as well. But it feels like something they will have to at least try and broach.
And you believe that they'll do anything possible to get off of Bradley Beal this summer?
Yes, I do believe that the Suns are going to do everything in their power to get off of Beal. Whether they can actually do it, we'll see. But I know that that is their number one priority heading into the summer.
As it should be. Noah's laughing at some super chats. We're going to continue to read all of those. Thank you guys for being patient. Hit that like button. We're getting closer to that like goal, but not close enough. I will say, I like Yo Bolt's comparison to Bradley Beal way better than Teddy's. Respectfully, Teddy. He said, the Anthony Rendon of basketball. I don't know if you're a big baseball guy, but Anthony Rendon signed a massive contract and it's just been hurt ever since.
Yeah, that's tough.
So we will read your super chats, hear from Marc Stein, and play a fun game right after our second break. Hey, let me talk about a different sport real quick. How about those Arizona Cardinals? Well, of course, the draft is coming up. Are they going to take Cam Scattaboo? Who are they going to select with their first round pick? Well, the best way to find out is with our Cardinals Draft Day watch party on April 24th. Join Bo, Johnny, Damon, and all the Cardinals diehards at Gila River Resorts and Casinos Wild Horse Pass in the Upper Deck Bar and Grill for an unforgettable NFL Draft Party live show presented by Circle K and by Gila River. If you weren't there last year, it was electric. The guys dressed up in full-on suits, and of course, when they selected Marvin Harrison Jr., all of the Cardinals faithful celebrated together. This year has an all-you-can-eat buffet dinner from 5 to 7 p.m., drink tickets for 21 and over guests, raffle tickets for great giveaways, and as always, our diehards receive 20% off events. You do you. At Gila River Resorts and Casinos, visit playatgila.com for more details and go to gophnx.com/events to learn all about our Cardinals draft party. And Truck Month is over, but we have big news from David Kimmerly, president of America's most awarded Ford dealership, Sanderson Ford. Ford just announced from America for America employee pricing. Now you pay what he pays on the full lineup on new Fords with no hassle, no pressure, and no nonsense, and no added markups. Employee pricing levels the playing field for Ford dealers as everyone gets the same set price. However, other dealers will still add addendums and add-ons. Sanderson Ford will not. Choose Sanderson because they have an inventory and a 70-year reputation of treating you right. Ford is undeniably the most America-first automaker in the world. 80% of vehicles Ford sells are assembled in factories located in America, and they will be less affected by the tariffs. Now is the best time to buy a new Ford with From America for America employee pricing. Disclaimer: excludes 2025 Expedition, 2025 Super Duty, Raptors, Mustang, and Bronco specialty vehicles. And we appreciate Sanderson Ford for sponsoring the PHNX Golf Tournament Hole-in-One competition. Make sure you come hang out with us at the Green Jacket Scramble on the 12th of April. Come hang out with PHNX and all the crew. Gerald and I will be there. Thanks to everybody who's hanging out with us. Let's get back to your super chats. Arton with a $4.99 super chat says, I feel like all Beal is doing in the starting lineup is stealing Gillespie's minutes.
That's pretty much where we're at. That's how bad it's been with Beal this season, is that we are lamenting that a guy who entered the year on a two-way contract is not getting more time over one of the team's two highest paid players. Woof.
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 Woof. Noah.
$2 from B Calm C Clearly says, Oso is single. Tell him I want it and need it. Kissy emoji.
That's crazy, man.
Just read the next one.
Yeah.
No. Noah, read the next Be Calm, See Clearly one. Let's just get it out of the way.
Okay. Be Calm, See Clearly, another $2. He goes, Noah, when are we going to winky kiss, winky kiss, winky kiss? I need your love, babe.
Congrats, Noah.
Thank you.
Congrats. Oh, boy. All right, let's read one from your dad, right? Jeff Ruby in the chat. Welcome, Papa Rubes. Any chance Bud stays for next season? I'd be surprised at this rate. I feel like if they miss the play-in, he has to be fired. Like this season
Even if
has
they
been,
make it.
even if they make it, yeah, this has been an abject disaster this whole season. And Bud's rotations, the lack of buy-in on the court, just the way that this team performs on a nightly basis, this is much worse than Vogel. And we were underwhelmed with Vogel on a 49-win team in a first-round sweep. This is
We were
worse
so naive.
with better defensive personnel, with a better roster. Like there's no excuse for it.
We were so naive, Gerald.
So
It could have been better than this.
That's crazy.
Teddy with a $9.99 super chat says, hot take. Beal isn't this trash. He's just playing like this so the Suns buy him out and he can sign the MLE with a new team, making back whatever money he gave up plus more. Well, for his own sake, you better be right.
So that's that, and that is something that is a problem with the buyout scenario, is that the only money you're saving off his contract against the cap is money that he agrees to forfeit as part of the buyout. So, you know, he's not going to give up 20 million, 30 million, I don't think, just to help out the Suns.
That Shams notification,
Like-
breaking news, Bradley Beal waives his own contract, takes $1 to leave the Suns.
Yeah, see, it's just not happening. So
Yeah.
I don't know. It's it's really tough to see what the winning solution is for the Suns. You have to find a way to trade him without giving up the farm in terms of
who?
what draft picks you have left.
To who?
They
Somebody
should-
please be stupid.
They should take his minus on the season and then subtract that in millions.
That's
You owe us
rough.
money, damn it.
That would be a crazy clause in the contract. Though.
Yeah,
Can
your
you imagine?
overall plus minus adds or subtracts to your salary.
Yep.
Wow. I mean, that would be incentive.
Okay.
Psycho Blue with a $5 super chat says, what will Eric, hey, that's me, do if the Suns 2025-26 program cover is Beal recreating the Keyshawn cover? Give me the damn ball. I would say, get me the hell out of here.
That's
That would just suck.
that's like one of the meaner things that we've seen in the chat recently, and that's saying something. Just making you envision that alone. You okay? You all right? You look like you're breaking inside a little bit.
You were with can you tell the people how long in the game it took for me to scream that I hate this team?
Oh yeah, it was 27 seconds into the game.
Yeah.
I think it was they scored
And then Ryan Dunn fouled.
Yeah.
And I said, I hate this team. And
Mhm.
at certain points, I went and put my hood up and just put my head against the wall. I stood into the back of our office and watched from far away so that I couldn't see. I'm a broken man.
That's tough.
And nothing will fix me except for the Phoenix
Well.
Suns winning. So nothing will fix me. We've talked about what we feel like the Suns' odds are at making the play-in. Of course, our guy, Marc Stein, was able to chat with our other guy, Espo, earlier today in a 30-minute conversation that is up on our YouTube channel and should be in your audio feed as well. So a little Saturday listening along with the mini pod that Espo and I also recorded. And he was asked by Espo what he thinks the chances are of the Phoenix Suns making the play-in, and he kept it real.
3 teams for 2 spots. How do you think this is all going to play out?
I mean, look, Sacramento is doing everything it possibly can to keep the Suns alive, but I don't know that it's going to be enough. I mean, and look, whoever it is, whether it's Sacramento or Phoenix that ends up 10th, I think the Mavs are going to beat them in the 9-10 game. So, like I said, I just started to my gut instinct is the Suns are finished. The Suns are done. There's no way if Durant doesn't play. But I mean, the Kings have just unraveled to such a dramatic degree. I mean, they started 10-2 under Doug Christie. I mean, who even remembers that now? They've been, I mean, losing to Washington on Wednesday night was just, I mean, that was a statement, I guess, that the Suns are not out of this, even though, again, it's, we only know KD's out for that first week, but it was a bad enough ankle twist that it's hard to see how he can really rebound from it. Again, I'm not going to say the Suns can't finish 10th, but, that's not exactly celebratory material here.
Yeah, it's not. He
Yeah.
sounds just like us. Oh,
Mhm.
yeah, it's certainly possible, but has no faith. And that's from a national level, Gerald.
Yeah, it's there's no reason to have any faith in this. Like, we've been covering this team all season long, and typically local markets are more generous towards the team than the national market. Nobody here believes this team can get it back on track or fix all of the things that ail this team. So it's not surprising that Marc Stein is correct in saying that this is pretty much broken beyond repair.
100%. We do have a question clarifying some things from Teddy
Sure.
in a super chat. So let's take a look at that before we play it. A very interesting extended clip from Marc Stein. Teddy with a $9.99 super chat asks you, just for clarity, are they not allowed to get him to reduce his owed salary from 110 to 90 million? Ugh, those are such large numbers. And then stretch that over 5 years, which would get them under the 15% dead money rule.
I don't believe so. I'm pretty sure if you are stretching and waiving a player, it's at their set amount with what is left on their contract, the full amount. So.
Yeah. And I still don't know if I want $90 million stretched out over 5 years with this team.
I mean, it's a lot easier to swallow than 110,
yeah,
but still, like that's a lot of dead money just to get a player to stop playing for your team. And,
Sure.
and as bad as he has been, that really hurts what you're able to put around whoever's
After Bradley
left.
Beal.
Yeah.
And people act like at that point he's not affecting you still.
Right, he still
Do
is.
you know how mad everybody's going to be when they're like, we can't sign anybody because Bradley Beal, the ghost of Bradley Beal, is taking up 20% of our cast? Like, it's just stupid. David with a $5 super chat. Thanks, David. Says Beal added nothing. All he did was disrupt whatever chemistry the starting unit, less KD, had.
Pretty much, yeah. That's why we were a little hesitant when we saw that Bradley Beal in his first game back was going to be in that starting lineup. Like, not that this team has been playing well recently, but the only good stretch they've had over the last couple of months came without Beal, came with the new starting lineup. And then in his first game back, you put him in there, you play him 30 minutes. He has the worst plus minus on the team. He goes 0 for 7. Like, again, they weren't going to win this game no matter what.
No.
But
still, it's, again,
you got to give
there's
yourself
a
the best
principle.
chance.
And this is not like a same performance from Boston that you saw in the first game that you played, where it really just felt like they turned the burners on and there was nothing you could do about it.
Right.
In an ideal world where this team is competing at the competent level that they were built to compete at, they could have won this game. Boston coming off a loss to Miami, wasn't playing like crazy, didn't have a singular, like, out of this world superstar performance from anybody. And they're an extremely deep and talented team, and they're a better team, and they would probably be better than this team at its best moments this season. But at the same time, worse teams win games. And if this team was playing to the level they could have, if they had Kevin Durant, if they could have won this game. But they didn't. So here's what we're going to do. We still have another clip from Marc Stein about a team that intrigues him when it comes to the Kevin Durant sweepstakes this offseason. We're going to take a break. We're going to come back, play that clip, and then we're going to play a game. We're going to try to have some fun and test our Suns and Celtics knowledge right after our final break. The Suns are at the floor, and by Lord, it's an ugly one, but not an ugly one when you go over to our friends at Empire Today. Just like your favorite team needs home court, field, ice advantage, your home needs home floor advantage, and Empire Today can help you get that, because they're not just one of those big box stores that you walk into. Like, close your eyes, Gerald, and imagine this. You walk in, close your eyes.
Oh, okay.
And imagine this. Come on, dude. Get with me here, all right?
How long do I have to keep them close?
For the entire ad read.
I'm
The
coming.
rest of the show. Noah, you too. You walk into these big box stores and there's so many options and you have nobody there to help you. You end up picking up what you think might work, but you're not sure about quality. Your eyes are open. That makes me upset. And you go home and it's all DIY, right? And then you get somebody to help you install, and they were doing plumbing last week. They were a chef 2 weeks before that, and they were driving around a couple weeks before that. No, we go to Empire Today. They're going to give you the best flooring with flooring experts, and they're going to do it in your home. Schedule a free in-home estimate today, because some things are better off at home. PHNX listeners can receive a $350 discount when they use promo code PHNX. Again, use promo code PHNX for a $350 discount. Restrictions apply. See EmpireToday.com/PHNX for more details. And of course, it's a personal testimony when I talk about Desert Financial Credit Union. I've got my dad in the chat. My dad, my family, my grandparents all have been using Desert Financial Credit Union through name changes, through moving, through job changes, through life changes, and even for me. From the first time that I had a job back in high school to literally right this second, I've always been using Desert Financial Credit Union, because they are Arizona's largest, most trusted local credit union, and they do everything from the basics, checkings and savings accounts, accounts to mortgages, loans, credit cards, investment options, and more, but with an emphasis on making the community better. And to prove it, when you open a free checking account online, you can get $200 in bonuses. Get started by visiting desertfinancial.com/200. Maybe you can get those $200 to pay that extra price bump on the Nintendo Switch too.
There you
All
go.
right. Sorry, Gerald. I know that one hits home for you.
That's fine.
I know you're very excited for it.
That's okay.
Something that I'm not excited for is the entire summer of Kevin Durant trade talk. Now, sure, it's going to give us something to talk about, but I don't want him to leave, Gerald. But here's the thing. The reality is he most likely is going to. Espo asked Marc Stein, what's a team that kind of stands out to you that's in the race for the KD? And we extended this clip. It's a couple of minutes. I found it fascinating from a national perspective. Let's listen.
There's going to be considerable interest in Kevin Durant. Again, he is still an absolutely elite scorer, and there will be interest. I mean, this is just purely my reaction. This is not reporting. This is just like hearing San Antonio as a potential suitor. That one does kind of get me curious, because do the Spurs get to the point next season where they say, you know what, we are ready to be more competitive. We think we want to put an elite veteran next to Wemby to try to, really make a run. Are the Spurs going to say they're really in position to do that when Wemby has missed, the last 6+ weeks of the season? I think that's one to at least keep an eye on. The Spurs could obviously furnish Phoenix with a lot if they are indeed a team that's going to go after Kevin Durant and a team that Durant would want to land with. I don't know. I don't have those answers for you yet, but that was one of the teams that when you heard them mention, it did kind of get me curious.
How much does the Greg Popovich situation kind of impact what the Spurs do as well? I imagine that they're still trying to figure out so many things internally.
Yeah, no
that
question.
might change it.
No question. I mean, we frankly don't have a firm timetable on when or if Greg Popovich can come back to the bench. And again, I do think the biggest variable is Victor Wembanyama. He's expected to make a full recovery, but this is a scary injury and a long-term loss, and just a very dispiriting way for his second season to end when he was playing all NBA level basketball. So I have to imagine the Spurs need to have a really good handle on what kind of rebound Victor Wembanyama can make next season before they think about, Kevin Durant is we're close to contending and we want to add Kevin Durant kind of trade target. You're not adding Kevin Durant if you're a 45 to 50 win team that's just trying to take a significant step. If you're going after Kevin Durant, it's because you think Kevin Durant can help you win a championship.
Those are all good points, and they kind of get lost in the KD conversation while we're talking about all these different trade destinations. It's really going to depend on what happens in these coming weeks in the playoffs, which teams that believe that they're closer to winning a title flame out early and then feel maybe a little bit more pressure, or like trading for Kevin Durant can get them over that hump. So the Spurs are an interesting team with so much up in the air in terms of Greg Popovich's health and potential return to the sidelines, in terms of Victor Wembanyama being ruled out for the season with that scary injury. Like, what does their next season prognosis really look like? It might be too early to tell. There will be teams that I think view Kevin Durant as that final piece, and maybe you get more out of a trade than we're expecting. But if that market doesn't materialize, then you're looking at a situation where you're getting low ball offers. And at that point, again, we keep talking about how Beal is the top priority to build around KD and Book if you can, but trading Kevin Durant for a low ball offer would really, really hurt you and kind of gut you moving forward. So the Spurs are a fascinating one if they are ready for that kind of Kevin Durant addition over the summer. Devin Vassell is making $27 million, Keldon Johnson $17.5, Harrison Barnes maybe salary filler at $19 million. Jeremy
really
Sohan.
Want Stephon Castle.
You're not getting Stephon.
But we're not getting Stephon Castle.
Yeah, you're probably not getting Stephon Castle, but you're hoping for some combination of one or two of the young players, Vassell and Johnson, Sohan, and then some draft picks.
And San Antonio is going to have another high draft pick this year as well. And I think that there's two sides to the Wemby injury situation thing. Obviously, it's like how long he's going to be out. But one of the things that it might remind San Antonio is that these windows are never as long as you think they're going to be.
Yeah.
And it might be hey, Wemby's already playing at an all NBA level. If the doctors at this point, it'll be a couple months in to his recovery, feel like he's going to be fine. Unfortunately, and I don't like saying this, you don't know, even beyond the blood clots, an ankle, a leg injury, a back injury, something happens and Wemby's career might not end up being 10, 15 years. This might be the best moment to take advantage of who Wemby is and how he can win. And I do think that there's going to be some teams that hit that desperation point. But I also wonder if when you look at a team like Oklahoma City, or if Houston does well in this postseason and doesn't make a win now trade, and you see that they stayed true to the process and built that way, if we're now shifting away from the idea of, hey, we flame out, now we have to go to the other side of this and completely go all in instead of staying course. So I think that one of those two things happening, OKC or Houston going on and maybe even winning a championship, would be extremely detrimental to what the Suns could try to do to flip KD in the offseason. Obviously, Gerald, we are going to talk about Kevin Durant trades, Bradley Beal trades, Royce O'Neal, Grayson Allen trades, free agents, veteran minimums, all of that when the offseason mercifully approaches us. Probably on April 14th. But of course, we will see. Before we play a quick game, let's read your super chats, and then we'll have a little fun. Kaylee, with the question that everybody's wondering, of course, can I get a KD autograph at a game? If so, how? Fingers crossed emoji.
Okay, so you got to get there early enough to where the players are going through their pregame routine. So I think the doors open, oh boy, what is that, 2.5 hours beforehand? So you got to get there as soon as the doors open, make your way down. They let fans before the game kind of watch in the lower bowl area. You kind of want to position yourself near one of the side tunnels where KD goes off the court when he exits. Sometimes he does take the other tunnel though, so I would like to give you better information of where he would be.
Get a friend,
exiting,
line up on both sides.
Yeah, you're gonna want to cover all the exits there. But usually after he leaves the court for warm-ups, he'll sometimes sign some autographs there. So that's your best shot.
I hope everybody was writing that down, because not just for KD. If you ever want an autograph, Gerald can spit that game.
I will not do that, but that's how you.
Not like you doing it, but you can tell them how to do it. You're giving them. You're putting them on game.
I can give them the inside info. Sure. We got another one from Teddy. Thank you, Teddy, for your $4.99 super chat. Miami is the most realistic for a KD trade, in my opinion, because Pat Riley has been after him for years. Wiggins, Rozier traded to a third team, probably 3 or 4 picks.
The words Wiggins and Rozier
in the same sentence is tough. Yeah,
brother, this guy stinks.
Yeah, that offer is tough, man. That is a rebuild offer. Like, and I don't think Wiggins is terrible, but like Wiggins and Rozier going to a third team, and then it's just basically Wiggins and some picks. And Miami's picks are never really that valuable.
No,
it feels
never.
Like, because they're always kind of
even
middle
this
of the
year
pack.
they're supposed to be bad, and they won like 6 straight games.
Right, so
ridiculous.
That would be tough, but yeah.
All right. Any final thoughts on this edition of Sun Celtics?
No.
Yeah, me either.
please no.
Stinks. All right, let's play a little game. I had Noah, hopefully, pull up all the players who have played for the Suns and the Celtics in NBA history. We're just going to have another edition of PHNX Suns Name Some Dudes. Okay. And we're going to name players that have played on both teams. I told you I had a very obvious first answer.
Okay.
Have you deduced who that is?
No, I probably should have.
I'm actually a little disappointed.
Who is it?
Gerald Green.
Okay. We love some Gerald Green.
I literally love Gerald
Green. My first thought was Mirza, but Mirza didn't play for the Celtics. Didn't play.
But no, Gerald Green's the number one. Mirza's the 2.
Gerald Green's a good one.
Yeah, so there we go. Get a little ding.
Of
course,
get a ding.
Gerald, you're up now. Let's just alternate back and forth.
Okay.
They have to have played a game.
Yes. So I was watching the Celtics whatever documentary on HBO, and they were doing one on DJ Dennis Johnson.
Oh, there you go.
There's one.
Dennis Johnson. A little ding there.
Little ding.
Give me a guy who's still begging for a spot in the league and now begging to be a general manager of UW basketball. Give me Isaiah Thomas.
Yep. Isaiah Thomas. Good one. He was like a borderline MVP candidate for that one year in Boston. That was
that was a crazy year. That was the year that his sister died, and then they played him for the back pain, and then they traded him.
Right.
Disgusting stuff.
Okay. Let's go with a big one. And This one's kind of funny because his Celtics tenure was what it was, and his son's tenure was the same. Shaq.
Hey,
Shaquille O'Neal.
Shackety Shaq. Oh, Thon stole mine. That was coming up next. Guys, no spoilers in the chat because Gerald and I are kind of competing here.
Yeah.
I was going to pick Joe Johnson. Give me Joey Buckets, who was
Okay.
like tied for like the 3rd or 4th most buzzer-beating game-winning shots in NBA history.
Okay.
Yeah, love that guy.
I'm going to go with a guy they cut to on the bench a couple times tonight, Mr. Torrey Craig.
Oh, Torrey Craig. Oh, that's a great poll.
Yep.
That is a great poll. Gosh, I want to say Rondo, but obviously Rondo never played
It's tough.
for the Suns. You know, I don't know why, but I felt like I was going to be able to pull more, but now like the lights are on and
Now the pressure's
I'm
on?
struggling a little
Okay.
bit. Oh,
Okay.
man.
I have one on my
You
mind.
just have one?
Is
Oh,
it-
I have didn't Morris. There was a Morris.
There was a Morris.
I don't know if it was Marcus or Markeith, so I'm going to take both.
Yeah, well, it's not both.
No,
gotta-
as in I'm
you gotta-
selecting both.
You got to pick one.
Give me Marcus.
Good call.
Yeah.
It was Marcus.
He's a little bit smaller one, I'm pretty sure. So yeah, Marcus Morris. Wow. Was that
Okay.
the one that you had in your head?
No, but same-ish
A twin?
era. Not a twin, but someone who made more threes in one Suns game than I was ever expecting him to. Mr. Aaron Baines.
Oh, yeah.
I love that dude.
Oh man. Oh, I don't know if I told the story. The first time I ever got aggregated by any account was the Aaron Baines fan club account.
Yes, great account.
I
That was
got-
when Stan accounts were fun.
Were fun, yeah.
Yes.
It was great because I was at Phoenix Suns Media Day. You're probably there, and we crossed paths, but obviously you didn't know who I was because nobody did.
Right.
And I took a picture of Aaron Baines in the orange uniforms or whatever, and I tweeted like, first look at these orange uniforms that look like practice uniforms. And Aaron Baines fan club was like, first look at Aaron Baines in Phoenix Suns threads. It was great. Okay, now I'm struggling. Is it a long list, Noah? Yeah. You know, Ish Smith, but I don't think Ish Smith played for the Celtics, even though he's played for like half of the league.
I don't think he
I don't
did.
think he played for the Celtics.
He did not.
Played for the
Yeah.
Wizards like
Yeah,
six
he did
different
play
times.
the Wizards, the Hornets. He played for just about everybody.
Okay.
Let me know if you want hints.
You know, it's really funny because I know that people are just screaming at their phones or their TV right now. I feel so stupid.
It's okay. There are a
Do you have another one?
I do.
I hate you. Why can't you look stupid with me?
This player had a whole arena chanting.
Oh, I got it. Jay Crowder.
There you go.
Yeah, Jay Crowder.
There we go.
I was thinking, I was like, there was somebody who's on the team, and then that book scored 70 against, and then okay. Yeah.
Boss Man 99.
Sorry, I should have said that in all caps.
Also,
Jay Crowder.
also
Sorry.
from the Jay Crowder era, Abdul Nader.
Oh, you sneaky sneak.
There were a lot of
Abdul Nader.
players in the recent
the
like
Celtics.
Suns that played for
Yeah.
the Celtics.
There we go. Okay, we are on fire right now. We got like a minute left, so let's try to get one more each. I might take the whole minute on this
Okay.
because I'm not doing too good.
Okay.
Even though I've gotten it, like it's not been pretty.
We talked about a recent Suns coaching candidate who's currently an assistant.
Oh, Cassell.
Yeah.
Yeah, Cassell. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure.
Thanks
didn't-
for helping me. That's,
Yeah, I
that's
got
real
you.
sportsmanship there.
The Brazilian blur, Leandro. He played for the
Oh.
Celtics too, right? Okay.
Okay.
I
How
wasn't
do you want to just
100%
rattle off
sure.
all the ones that you have?
Okay. Shoot. Who else? Oh, Starbury.
Oh yeah.
He played for the Celtics as well.
Okay.
I think that was one of the last ones that I had.
Yeah, I know there's
No,
more.
there was another. There was a recent player.
know
He
there's
was
so
another
much
bench
more.
guy like Abdul Nader.
I know there's so much more.
Each one more.
Oh,
Etwan Moore did
there
play
you
for the
go.
Celtics, yep.
Etwan Moore. I remember Etwan Moore. Wow. Yeah, I'm fresh out. Well, that's gonna do it here. Tom Gugliotta.
There
Did
we
Tom
go.
Gugliotta play? Because Sean.
Oh,
Or no, somebody in there. Sly said that.
Paul Westphal. Another one.
Paul Westphal.
Mhm.
Yep.
Charlie
there we
Scott.
go.
What
All
about
right. Well, we could.
Legend Justin Jackson.
Justin Jackson.
Mhm.
Oh, that's great. Well,
Oh, did EJ? Did EJ ever
Eddie
play
Johnson?
for the Celtics?
Sonics, Kings, Suns. I don't think he played for
He didn't.
the Celtics.
I thought EJ
No,
did.
I don't think he did.
Okay.
Well, that's going to do it here on another edition of PHNX Suns. We're off tomorrow, but check out Espo Southwest Bias with Marc Stein. Check out Espo and I recorded about 10 minutes on what really ruined the Suns season and maybe their future as well. Sly says Gerald Green. Well, I said Gerald Green first because, of course, that's what everybody
That's
thinks
his
of
guy.
when they think of Suns Celtics. They think of Gerald Green. But I think of Gerald when it comes to great writing over at GoPHNX.com. You can follow him at Gerald Bourget. You can also follow us at PHNX_Suns on social media. We appreciate Noah behind the Mac making all of the magic happen. You can follow me at ERIKRUBY. And just remember, somebody said in the comments that if you stacked Gerald and I on top of each other in a game, we would score more than 1 point. We'll talk to you guys in the next game.
We all silly like the mayor.